Yeah.
Huh, you didn't have to agree. I got the power. Oh, did you get a little note
Yeah.
to agree? Okay.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
it was just notifying us that you are in fact recording,
Okay.
which
Okay.
is fine.
That's cool. Um, so I'll just repeat, and then I'm going to let Alex ask some questions too. Alex has been doing a lot of interviews. I've been doing a lot of YouTube shares. I have a YouTube site, Shine Your Inner Light, because I believe as we shine our inner light and look for the light in others, that all just grows. So um, anyway, and let me ask you this, since this is our beginning, it's our first interview. I've got it on speaker view. Are you guys seeing what I'm recording looks like?
I'm pretty sure it always records in speaker view.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's
Uh,
So
cool.
and you
yeah,
can switch
I've
the game.
had it once. I once did something that went wrong, and then it was only the recording. So, but I think it's
Yeah, I've had stuff go wrong too. But I didn't really learn from it. I don't know what we did wrong.
well, okay.
Um, anyway, it's my pleasure to have Alex and Sandy here. And if you guys could share just a couple little, like your little elevator speech or just your background, where you are now, like the things you're exploring, and any information you want to share about yourself. So you want to go ahead, Alex?
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Alex Lipton. I'm a videographer. My preferred title is video shaman, which is the bridge from the technical videography cinema world into the more spiritual consciousness-based world. So on one hand, I like to help facilitate, like a shaman would, the technical world to people that may not be aware of the inner workings of that realm. And then also living a much more harmonious spiritual life where instead of just filming and documenting and capturing and editing, it's more about living and being and experiencing. So I've gone through many metamorphosis experiences of coming into more of a sense of balance, what that means for myself, and then learning and facilitating that with other people. So that's basically what I'm doing right now. And I'm in Southern California. This is my van, the Nautilus. My dog Thor's not here today because I'm going to be doing a little bit of a camping trip, and I wasn't sure what the terrain was going to be like. So I like to scope it out before I bring my little Chihuahua with me. So yeah, so it's a little this month is really cool, going on the road and meeting a lot of people, doing interviews, and also just having a wonderful emergence of community in the world, because that's absolutely what we need in the world right now. We need more community. And I love this phrase. It's been something that I've been saying for a while now, is that community is immunity. When we come
Nice.
together in community, we start to share in a wisdom that an individual may not really be able to experience all on their own. So teamwork is one of the most amazing things that'll allow us to go into the future. And as my uncle Bruce would say, thrive into the future and not just survive. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks. And Sandy?
Yeah, yeah. My name is Sandy Thurnes. I'm from Switzerland. Just now I am in Switzerland. I love the United States, so I kind of call it both my homes. I'm an energy healer. Been doing energy healing work and dowsing for a long time, and just now I'm mainly focusing on the subconscious mind, because I've noticed that a lot of people are just, you do healing, and I always say that it's the person that heals themselves. So I'm just a facilitator. I am here to assist, but usually people just get stuck somewhere in the subconscious mind, or they have trapped emotions or just things going on. And so I'm just expanding. I keep on learning. I think that's the greatest gift, to just be able to keep on learning, connecting with people like you guys. It's just wonderful. It's been a wonderful ride, and I hope it continues. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
What about you, Rita?
I guess, I was thinking about this morning. I would consider myself a creator, and I like to be following my excitement. And I had a long corporate career, and then made a big epiphany decision to move to South Africa, and it was totally supported. And then that began a spiritual journey of learning about the Akashic records and becoming an Akashic accessor and teacher. And then, but it's like so much more, right? So, like, you know, and I love crystals. And so I use crystals in well, I used them in my mom's life celebration and her funeral. And I saw a lot of changes for people. And that led me to wanting to understand how crystals interact with our field. So that started a film project, but it's just like all this stuff just kind of continues, and it's just kind of fun. And I love the idea of community. I mean, community is so important. I mean, when I'm in, that's the thing about being in meditation, and I will just ask, like, I know I'm here to serve, and I'll just say, but I want to do it with other people. You know, I just don't want to be like, I mean, there's a lot of people holding space for things. So anyway, yeah, so I'm happy to be connected with Alex and you, Sandy, in this opportunity to kind of share what you're doing. I got exposed to PSYCH-K where I met Alex was at a Bruce Lipton and Margaret Horton event called the Honeymoon Effect in Mount Shasta area last summer. And I had never done PSYCH-K. I'd read in the book, The Honeymoon Effect, that Bruce used PSYCH-K because he wanted to stay in his relationship with Margaret because he had a lot of subconscious stuff come up that, you know, he didn't know, like he wanted to figure it out because he really loved her. And I thought that was so beautiful. And I remember at the time I looked for PSYCH-K workshops and there wasn't anything in my area. And then life happened, you know, and so then it came back into my space at that workshop. And he did a couple exercises with us around fear and loving ourselves that was very powerful for me. So it just, I think it really opened a Pandora's box of things for me to address. And I think that's part of our connection, because I think that our guides and angels and energies kind of weave us all together. I think there are these beautiful golden threads happening. And so I've done some work. So I've done some work with Sandy, with not only PSYCH-K when she came to visit me. I'm in Sedona right now, but also the body code, emotion code, and belief code, and things like that. So I'm interested in learning more because I think it's all fascinating. And Alex has, I know he's very science. He has a lot of information to share around some of this stuff too. So I think it'll be a beautiful conversation. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well,
so
PSYCH-K is a wonderful I guess you could say multiple levels of language to describe what PSYCH-K is and how it applies to our lives. You could say that it's a tool, you could say it's a method, you could say it's a philosophy, and I think it's the bridge between the world of self-help, where you have a lot of these modalities that are energy psychology based and even spiritually based, like Reiki, that can really help improve your life experience. And then also PSYCH-K is very much a spiritual way of living, of understanding what the principles of nature themselves are. Because if you understand that subconscious is where the beliefs are, and if you want to change the programs to be more in harmony with your life and what your conscious wishes and desires are, the deeper question that I think PSYCH-K gets into in this organization, it's more of just like the school of PSYCH-K, really. And I think the school of thought of PSYCH-K is to ask this question about nature. What would nature's beliefs be? And because nature is the ultimate, most sustainable system that has been doing this harmonious thing of the garden of life for millions and billions of years. So if we, as human beings on this planet with arguably couple 100,000 years of human existence, let's ask, how can we be more in harmony with nature? So that's really something that's so cool with PSYCH-K, and there's so much you can learn about it. But just having one experience, I think it really, in my experience, facilitating balances with people, it's been like when they have that moment of a balance happening in real time, it's like, oh my, what? How did I feel a change? It's not like, oh wow, I see things differently now. It's more like, wow, I feel something that's different, and that is just such an amazing thing to witness with people.
Yeah. So for people that aren't familiar with PSYCH-K, my experience was around this whole idea that subconsciously, like with kinesiology, which is a science, right? It's a science, right, Alex? Like the muscle testing, you know, like, and,
Yeah.
you know, it's a way of talking to your subconscious. I now know that how to do this one, you know, like to really ask your higher self questions. So having somebody trained like you and Sandy to ask my subconscious questions and then muscle test to see what is my belief, that energy was kind of amazing to me, you know, that some of the stuff you could feel, like Bruce asked, you know, about fear, right, Alex? He asked a question about, you know, are you, I can't remember how he phrased the thing with fear, but as soon as he said it, I felt it in my heart. And I was like, oh my God, I'm afraid, you know? So maybe Sandy, do you want to explain a little bit more about the process that you take somebody through with the PSYCH-K and the codes around connecting with how you do it?
Well, I usually go into, depends if I do it online, I will go into surrogation and do the muscle test.
Okay, so what's surrogation?
Surrogation is when I ask, in PSYCH-K, you always ask for allowance. So is it okay for me to go into surrogation for Alex, for example? And is it okay for Alex to have me go into surrogation? So you just make sure, because if I would go into surrogation and I would not ask for the permission, which is something that Rob is really strict about, and I totally understand, and he has a reason. So I can't just go, should take some random person and just go into surrogation and if I would do that, it would not work. So PSYCH-K would not work for that person. But I could actually go into surrogation with an animal if they're stressed. This was maybe a couple of months ago. I was in a car. A family was getting into a car and they were going to drive me to the train station in Switzerland and to a train station.
Mm-hmm.
And they were totally nervous before getting into the car. They said, the baby is always just screaming its head off. And so I was in the front seat and I said, well, should we try something? I said I could go into surrogation for the baby. And they looked at me kind of, yeah, sure, do whatever. You. And so I also asked for permission. I got the permission on both parts. And I just went into the, I forgot, into the balance state. And the baby immediately stopped crying. And they just couldn't believe it, because that had never happened. So that's how it works, Maybe Alex it seems like Alex is really, really good at explaining the process. So if you would have to ask me a year ago, are you going to do an interview? I would have definitely been too afraid to do it. So I can see the difference that PSYCH-K has made, or the belief code, because we just advance and we get rid of our fears. And yeah.
Doing a great job.
Thank you. Is that okay? Is that okay for you, Alex, to explain? Because you have such a beautiful way to
Thank you. No, you explained it perfectly. You really showed the whole nature of it, and surrogation. It's just I love that you emphasize the permission and commitment protocol when doing a PSYCH-K balance, because a lot of, in my experience, as much as people have a good intention in their heart and they want to help people, sometimes in other modalities, they could be a little bit colder with your brain is a computer and it's simply just got programs in it. And we just go in, like anyone can walk up to any computer and just like log in and change the program. But with PSYCH-K, again, more of the spiritual aspect of this and the permission and commitment. Is it safe and appropriate to do this? It really allows, like you said, allows for healing to happen in a much more harmonious, safe, and natural way. Because again, though, even the language is so important, especially with PSYCH-K, compared to, let's say, something like neurolinguistic programming, which is really cool. Another modality that PSYCH-K has influence from when it was first incepted back in 1988. But the whole idea of a PSYCH-K facilitator, who you are going to be facilitating the healing. Key word is that the healing, you're going to be doing the healing. I'm here just to facilitate and hold space for you so that you can do the healing on yourself. Whereas in neurolinguistic programming, that same role is identified as a practitioner. which is, I guess true in a lot of ways, but it kind of implies like the one with the knowledge and the one doing the stuff is the practitioner. You go to the NLP practitioner and they're going to do stuff to you. Whereas in Psych-K, it's much more oriented to you're the one that's doing it and we're here to allow it. So again, allowing and safety and permission and commitment, it's just because sometimes as much as you want to help somebody, this applies to anything even outside of the energy psychology world. Sometimes you want to help somebody so badly that they just don't want to be helped. And the more you try to help them, the more resistance you get. And then in the end, you're like, you're putting all this effort in to try to help somebody and they're not receiving it. And then it's like, it's kind of counterproductive to the whole intention of trying to heal somebody in the first place. So within the protocol of Psych-K, when you learn about the process, there's a protocol. It's like a scientific method, really, that's very much the same every time. You're able to determine whether or not it's safe and appropriate to even do this on a higher self level. Sometimes you want to help somebody, and in the muscle test, strong response means yes. Weak muscle test means no. Sometimes you get a no. It's like, is it safe and appropriate to do this? No. It's like, okay, well then, but you'd have to respect that and you have to honor that. So, I think that's part of the encouragement process with healing in general, because people could be very distrusting of people doing things to them, like, what is this weird voodoo type thing you're doing with me right now? So when you give people the space to come to that conclusion on their own, it's a much more powerful and enlightening experience, I think.
Really beautifully put. Just perfect. Yeah.
Sandy, how
what?
yeah, I'm sorry, Rita,
No, I
go
was just
ahead.
curious about how Sandy got involved in Psych-K.
Exactly what I was going to ask.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm a human design projector, and I only found that out about maybe a couple of years back, which changed the world for me because I suddenly realized that everything I always thought was wrong with me was actually right. I just didn't function the way a lot of other human beings function. So we have a different aura. We are much more receptive to the energies. So we need to kind of shut down the brain and just really follow our hearts and intuition. And then I heard like this is an Australian guy, Charlie Maginnis, who's got the human design projector movement, and he was talking about Psych-K, and I immediately went, "What's that?" Like I have to, because you're not allowed to show it on video actually how the process works, because again, it's about the protocol, and people could do it wrong, and it could be misused. So I just got really curious and I started researching, and this was maybe 1.5 years ago. And I wanted I think I did an online course first because there was the pandemic and everything, so we couldn't go to a teacher. And then I actually found, funny enough, I worked with Ian Spicer, who, when I was and then last year I went to London because he came from Australia to London to teach, and I went through 3 courses with him, he asked me, how did you get to Psych-K? And I said, oh, through Charlie. And he goes, oh, I know Charlie, he was one of my students. So it's just an interesting journey how everything comes together, and the more you do that kind of stuff, the more things really come together and fall together. Since I've been doing Psych-K, it's almost like the universe has opened up for me. And the things that I need to learn, I don't even have to search for it. It's just like presented to me on a plate. The people I need to meet are presented to me. So it's really heart opening. It's peaceful, and it's amazing. I can't put it in any other words.
Ian's a great teacher. I really love his style.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's fun. Got a big heart.
Totally. As with a lot of pretty much every instructor that I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of them over the years. And it's good to know with Psych-K as well, when people are getting into this, that there's Psych-K facilitators. You can go and take the course and learn how to become a facilitator, learn the protocol and get the paperwork, get certified to be a Psych-K facilitator. And then there's levels of more deeper knowledge and information and balances and stuff that you could learn, like in advanced courses, integration courses, and things like that. They're not absolutely necessary, but if they're available if you want to learn more. And then eventually, for the people that are so moved by PSYCH-K, they can actually become a PSYCH-K instructor. But I have to be very honest that it's not something that is encouraged for everybody. It's like I've met a lot of people that have had some profound PSYCH-K experiences, and they're like, I want to be an instructor, and oh, why can't I be an instructor right away? And Rob is and just the organization of PSYCH-K is just very, very deeply connected to quality control, I guess you could say. And it's not about the quantity. We don't need to have so many instructors in the world. The people that are drawn to this experience, they will have opportunity to do it. Which is a counter to something like EFT, right? EFT is really cool interrupt technique, but it's like open source. Anybody can just go and learn it, but there's all sorts of variations on it. So that's really cool that you had that experience with the online course. I haven't done that one.
Sandy, so PSYCH-K, it led you to some other modalities? Or how would you describe that? Because I know I initially met you with the PSYCH-K, which
Right.
is very powerful, and you even did like couples balancing, and it sounds like there's so many things that come up that you have an opportunity to heal with PSYCH-K, right? There's a whole range. And then you got drawn to another type of emotion code, body code, another form. And I'm curious, like, of that progression, and how you add both of them in, or how you incorporate different ones in and decide kind of what to do.
Well, I've been a dowser for a long time, so I just have my dowsing rod.
What?
A dowser?
What's a dowser?
A dowser. It's like, you usually a dowser uses a pendulum. So I have
the pendulum.
I work with the dowsing rod.
Yeah.
I've been known for that. The clients, like I just have a client who is in another part of Europe, and he called me and said, I want to rebuild my house, and could you ask the dowsing rod whether I should put in new windows, or if is that the most benevolent thing to do for my family? So with the dowsing rod, I just have instant access to super consciousness, like to a higher consciousness. And so that's what I've been doing. And then, funny enough, when I was in London with Ian for the PSYCH-K workshop, when we were introducing ourselves, I said that I've been doing a lot of dowsing, and people keep asking me to remove entities and stuff like that. And I said, it's always, even though I know I can do it and I do it for them, it always feels so heavy. So I was almost choking up as I was saying that in the class in front of everybody. And so my main thing was, how can I do this easily and have it be fun and not feel heavy? Because I love to work light. I love to work with a sense of humor. I love to brighten up people's lives rather than go, yeah, you have an entity here, and And so interestingly enough, through PSYCH-K, I just went up on a website of somebody who was doing PSYCH-K, and it was in Dallas. I was in Dallas last year for the health and well-being program with Duccio Locati. And there was a young lady from Canada. And so I went and checked out her website. And she said, oh, I'm removing entities, and I'm doing this. And I thought, what kind of experience does she have? How can she do that? And then I was suddenly realized that she was doing the emotion code and the body code. And then I learned that there's also now the belief code. And I want to get to the belief code. I've been doing the emotion code for quite a while, but without certification. And that belief code was also something that through PSYCH-K, I really got drawn to that. And so I did, in the matter of the 3 months, I just went through emotion code, body code, and belief code certification. And with the belief code, the difference is that you do exactly, you go into surrogation, And then you can find the beliefs that were implanted into you. Either you have even inherited or implanted into you as a young child, and you go and you remove them and you replace them with new beliefs. So it's just a different modality. And I've noticed that in, sometimes in some people, they love PSYCH-K. Other people, they just want to dig deep. They want to see where is the problem. And with the belief code, you can really dive into it. And yeah, so that's how I was drawn to that whole process.
So it sounds like there's a variety of subconscious healing modalities out there. Like Alex mentioned the EFT and stuff, but I kind of like, I've played around with EFT a little bit as well, but I get what you guys are both saying around, having somebody experienced that can really kind of hone in and help you hone in, I guess, right? To move that subconscious belief or pattern.
Yeah,
And
I think
it
it
can be
helps.
lineage too, right? Huh?
I'm sorry, what was that last thing you said there?
It can be lineage.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we do live in the Matrix, right? So we have like a certain perception of it. Like
Yeah.
you go to a workshop and you're like, oh, I'm here with all these people, but then there's like soul contracts and we've been here before and here we are revisiting places and things. So like, even though somebody may not appear to have shamanic lineage and they dress like a shaman or whatever, they could have some sort of lineage, like a teaching way of communicating that is something beyond our perception at that time. But yeah, that totally, like all the different modalities and having somebody at least to show you the ropes in the beginning, give you a guiding, because then I think a lot of people, and I'm sure you feel the same way, Sandy, too, that once you find something that works, it's like, oh, it clicks, and there's an inner wisdom or an inner knowing that allows you to just flow with it really easily because it resonates, right?
Right. So I also had I actually talked to a friend who does PSYCH-K and the belief code. And she mentioned something interesting. She said, PSYCH-K is a lot more gentle because with the belief code, you literally go and you take out, old beliefs and then you go and replace them. And sometimes you can have a little bit of a bumpy ride a few days afterwards, which apparently with PSYCH-K clients do not have. So I found that just a good thing to know. So yeah, and I've also noticed that on myself, where suddenly you go kind of you might have a day where I am feeling, well, I have a little bit the blues, and I am not a person who usually has the blues. So it's a different modality, and it just needs to work. Whatever for me, it's the most important what clients would like to look at, what they would like to work with. So I'm just, as Alex says, we are just the facilitators. I'm not doing the healing. It's the person. It's the subconscious mind. And what really strikes me is, with the belief code. So here we always think that the subconscious mind works against us, but it's really our best friend. It just has been programmed wrong. But it also shows, okay, so we took out all these limiting beliefs, and then I work with, I've added a little bit of PSYCH-K knowledge into it. So we have an app where there's about 2,000 negative or positive beliefs, and you go search for the one that is implanted, and then you slowly start plucking it out. And I also have card sets. I use books. So I will go, is the answer in a book? And then I move over there, and what is so amazing is that I can have so many tools, and we plug one belief out, and then to replace it, I ask the client's subconscious mind, so what would you like to have it replaced with? And then I go through everything again, and I forgot what I always take note. And usually it brings me exactly to the positive affirmation that now needs to go in. And for me, that is mind-boggling. And it's so much fun. It just makes it so much fun. And also for the client to then have an empowering belief system rather than one that weakens. the person. Yeah.
That's cool.
I love how you said the subconscious mind is really our best friend. The way that it's portrayed in movies historically is always this deep, scary, dark place where all of the problems of the individual are nested in. And it's like even the angel on one shoulder and the devil on your other shoulder. Oh, the subconscious that's there to mess with you the whole time. But it's really like the thing that regulates our heartbeat, our breathing, keeps us from having to learn how to walk every single day. I mean, that's talk about a great way to look at that as your best friend. That's good. Beautiful. Love that.
So what would somebody expect if they come to you guys or, come in for, like a session, or how does that work?
Sandy.
I was just gonna. I just love listening to you. I was gonna, Alex, go ahead.
Well, I'm leaning more into it now in terms of facilitating balances with people. It's really just been word of mouth for me at this point, and I've had really just profound experiences overall with it. Usually the way it works for me is I'll end up in a conversation with somebody. It seems random at the time, but then it turns out like, oh, okay, well, it's like this is like a divine connection here of like a soul connection of meeting people. And if they have an issue that they're struggling with, if I knowing how the subconscious works, like, okay, well, there's this thing PSYCH-K, have you heard of that? And start talking about it. And I always ask, even before talking about it, I'm like, well, I have this great tool I would love to share with you if you would like to do it. So eventually, usually like, oh, okay. And sometimes I even bring in like tarot cards or divination cards and things like that. There is a way to include that, insert that within PSYCH-K, within the process, and still help with the clarification. Sometimes people are more familiar with tarot cards or guidance cards like that. One of the things with getting into doing a PSYCH-K balance, it's really identifying what the goal is. The goal is the first step into figuring out, okay, well, now I know what I want to do. How do we do it? And sometimes it's hard for people to designate a goal. They might like have a sense of what the goal is, but to manifest it into words with language, that's a creative process that most of the time we're not even thinking about. Most of the time, as human beings, we're thinking about what we don't want. The goal is I don't want this. So then to make that leap of what I do want, it's actually, sometimes it's not as easy. Sometimes it's super easy for people to figure that out. Sometimes it's not. So tarot cards or divination cards are a really good tool to, I think, help clarify what that goal is. Bring that thing from the subconscious mind up to the present awareness that can like, okay, get the goal. And then always, always, always when I go into the balance, I always go, even with tarot cards in general, any of this stuff, always go into it with openness and curiosity, being like, hey, let's see what happens. I'm curious myself to see if this is going to work. And if not, I just have no idea. As much as in my heart, I still hold on to the intention of, I want to help. I want to help you. But then I have to also let go in my mind being like, like, I know it's going to help. I know this is going to work. I always in my mind have to let go and simultaneously hold on. I let go of the expectation of what's going to happen, but hold on to the intention that I want to help you in any way I can. And let's just see what happens. So I've had opportunities mostly doing PSYCH-K in recent years over Zoom, like you were saying, Sandy, because I mean, even with the advent of the virtual world and everything, it's been, a lot of times people will find me online and will want to do it on Zoom. And I mean, I would always prefer to do it in person because it's the original way without computers. And especially when you're doing muscle testing, it's a lot, I think, easier to tap right into that feeling, because when you're doing muscle testing via Zoom or online like this, you have to go into surrogation, which is always really cool. Um, and I've had really good experiences with both aspects of it. So really, the way I go into it, my entry thing is like, I just keep my ears open. I keep my ears open, I keep my heart open, and listen in for if there's somebody that's in need of something like this that could help benefit them. I just try to make myself as best available as I can in order to facilitate the thing. You know, I don't want to be pushy on them and anything like that. And again, it's like not changing the beliefs, but it's like every single time it's funny. I go into it with the lack of like, I don't know how it's going to work out. And then the moment when the muscle test changes, what goes from the weak to the strong, they like open their eyes and look at me like, what did you do? Like, what just happened just now? And I'm like, okay, well, let's lock in the change. And okay, so what did you experience? Always asking, like, so what was going on when you had this balance happening? And they're just it's always such a unique experience that people have. So, yeah, I guess I hope that answered the question a little bit.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you. Wow. I think it sounds like you're just doing a wonderful, wonderful job. I just love it. I listen to you for hours because it's so inspiring, you know, we inspire each other. I had an amazing experience actually with myself doing PSYCH-K as I was stuck with my website, you know, because I when I was learning PSYCH-K, I thought, okay, so I need to redesign my website because now I offer different modalities. And I just came home and I had writer's block. There was nothing for 2 weeks straight. There was just nothing happening. I didn't know where to start. There was no inspiration. And then, so I asked, would the PSYCH-K balance help me with the problem? And I got, in muscle testing, I got a yes. And so I went through the different balances. So which one is the one that will help me? And then it turned out it was the greater personal self balance. And all I had to do was pick a card. And so I asked, you know, which card deck is it going to be? And it showed me. And then I just needed to look at it. So I pulled the card that I was supposed to pull. And I had to look at the card and just be in, you know, in the whole brain state, look at the card. And I remember thinking, looking at that symbol and really thinking, how in the world is that going to make? That's not going to do anything. But as Alex says, I was just open. You know, I thought, okay, this is greater. You know, it's like my higher self guiding me. So I'm just going to be open to the process. And even though if my lower mind thinks this is not going to do anything, I'm just going to sit here and look at that symbol. And lo and behold, next morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, I got up, and for days straight, I worked from early in the morning until late in the evening, which is not like me. And it just was flowing, and I was having so much fun with it. And for me, that was one of those amazing moments where you go, PSYCH-K is so awesome. It's such a gift to the world, and I'm so glad that Rob had it as, you know, as a download and is sharing it with the world.
That's cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That was one of my first balances I actually did when I first did it, was because of writer's block.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was in film school and I literally was struggling to write this screenplay. And that was the first time I did a balance, was to figure out like, okay, let's clear that, and was able to write 3 screenplays after that.
Awesome. Yeah.
So that was a good intro.
And it's also it's very important for us, you know, it's not only for the client to have that experience, but for me to know that it really actually works. And it works every time.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You're not just sharing information. Oh, I heard this works. You're coming from a direct personal experience of it.
Always. I always have to be I am always my best guinea pig here. Like, okay, let's try it out on Sandy, and if it works, I can share it with my clients. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. That would not be sincere.
Amazing.
It's totally amazing. Yeah. So it's not just, so like, what are the topics that people normally clear? Is there a norm? I mean, that's kind of interesting, right? Like from writer's block to, I mean, what are some of the things that people show up clearing?
Pretty much everything. That can, yeah, it can go from relationships to sexuality, to having a problem with a child in the spectrum, to finances, to somebody who's not finding their purpose in life. It's I find it's endless. So it's like, as Alex says, just stay curious. I never ever, I always ask, is it is it safe and appropriate? Because if the theme that the client comes with is not something we need to work on, or maybe there's something that is more important at the moment, and then we can go to the problem. But it's just, the main thing is to just stay open and be curious. And yeah, I don't know about you, what people come to you for Alex, if that's the same thing, or if you have a lot of other worries that people.
Yeah, it's definitely a wide range of things, emotional stuff about past relationships or relationships, a lot of relationship stuff, financial stuff, creative stuff, mental health stuff. Yeah, it's literally a whole bunch of different things. And something that I thought was really cool about PSYCH-K when I was doing some balances with Rob, it was like years ago now, but I feel like there's this, when you're in like a therapeutic setting, there's this like anticipation that, okay, well, I need to explain what's going on here. Like, okay, here we are. This is what I want to address. Let me explain to you X, Y, and Z bullet points 1, 2, and 3 on what this is. And I remember Rob saying, like, look, you don't have, I mean, you totally feel comfortable to share whatever you want about this, but you don't have to, because you're talking with your conscious mind. This is a subconscious issue. The whole point is if you understand the feeling of where it's coming from. As a facilitator, they can help you, or we can help you craft the goal statement to be in the proper linguist for the subconscious to understand. But you don't have to really hash out all the details like in a traditional therapeutic like psychoanalysis setting of, oh, this is what happened and back then, and spend like an hour or two just getting into the history. If you just really, I would guide people in those situations to just like get into the feeling of what it means to you. Get into the feeling. Have you ever felt this feeling before? And then you can, because especially if it's something that's very sensitive issue to people, they might have a little hard time like being comfortable talking about it too, thinking like, oh, I have to really divulge like info. It's like, no, you don't have to. Just, you don't have to have any information really. Just, whatever you feel comfortable sharing. And then we craft the goal, because a lot of times I find that the goal statement, the belief statement that's going to be reprogrammed into the belief, into the subconscious, is not like specific. It doesn't always have to be like specific word for word of the very thing that you're dealing with. You could be dealing with a relationship thing that has to do with like your home and like having to move out from one place to another, and there's all this work stuff that's up in the air, but the belief statement could come down to just be, I trust my inner knowing. It could be something very simple that doesn't have to be like a long statement, like, I see myself living in a house and doing this and I am this. And it's like, I always try to guide it back down to something, as keep it as simple as possible, but as long as it's linked associatively to the feeling of the belief that you want to change. So it's always a unique process with every single person.
I absolutely agree. And the thing about talking is so interesting, because since I'm doing PSYCH-K and belief code, it quiets people down. It's like their minds quiet down. Where before they would, keep talking about some of them would keep talking about their worries. And of course, if whatever we speak, manifest. So here you can just take, like to take the wind out of the
Yep.
occasion a little bit, and I don't know if that's good English that I just but it's just a different game.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so many things, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, so bringing that up, Sandy, you speak more than one language, I think, right?
Well, I mean, we speak German, and then I speak French and English. And then you have the Swiss German. People don't understand, oftentimes don't know that Swiss German and German is different. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I think that's a real gift, because language is, like I've been told the American language is just like we don't really have a lot of words that express things. And so it's just kind of interesting. Like, I think it's really great that you have these different languages too, just because everyone, like what Alex was saying about what does that feel like, right? And then there's so many words for different feelings and stuff. So that I think of that as a gift, that you have these, versatility with the languages that you know.
Well, it's also, it broadens, it broadens the mind.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
it's so interesting because Switzerland is such a small country, and then you have the Italian part, the French part,
Yeah.
the German part, and there's also another language actually that is kind of ancient. Yeah.
So that's cool. So how do we get in touch? How do we get in touch with you, Sandy, if anyone sees this and wants to get in touch? And then I'll ask, and Alex can share the same, because I think both of you are bringing together some beautiful the healing modalities and things that can be done remotely, which is awesome,
Yeah. So I have a website after my writer's blog. I have my website is up, so it's called Sandy Thurnes. So it's THURNES. It's all in one word, and then .life. And that will be my website, and I have it in German and in English. So because I have clients from Australia and the United States and Europe, so it's kind of whoever wants to reach out, I'll be happy to welcome you, and we can see if we can solve whatever you would like to work on.
Nice.
I love that .life thing too. I've never heard of that, but that's a pretty cool domain extension there. It's pretty spot on there. Yeah, thank you so much, Sandy. You can find me on my website, videoshaman.com. It's more of my production website. I'm in the process of coming up with either a new website or reformulating my website to include more information for my availability to do PSYCH-K. Right now, it's really just I was really just focused on being in the movie industry for a while, so my website kind of reflects that. But I'm moving into more of a completely unconventional way of expressing myself in the physical world. So you could find. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You're just letting people write their own movie, so you're staying in this. You're on the right track.
That's very true.
It's all a movie, so we're changing around the movie.
I love that. I love that analogy. It's the whole idea of recognizing that there is a script to your life, and you are not just merely the actor. You are also the writer, the producer, the director. You have pretty much every single role in your experience there. So once you understand that there's a script, you can actually go back and edit the script and rewrite it. You don't have to be afraid of that studio producer that's going to come in and try to take note. This is going to be the script. If you watch a movie, sometimes you'll see that there were like 9 writers and like 12 producers. Usually those are the ones that's like, okay, well, maybe this original story got changed quite a bit along the way. And but yeah, anyway, you can find me at my website, videoshaman.com, SHAMAN, and my information's available there, and I'd be more than happy to facilitate if there's anything that we can do to make some magic happen. And even if you want to just learn more about it, and if you need any facilitation, just making connections with people in the PSYCH-K world, I'd be more than happy to do that with you. So yeah, no, thank you, Rita, and thank you, Sandy, too. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you both.
That was awesome.
I love talking to uplifters on the planet. It's fun. Yeah.
Likewise.
What were you gonna say, Sandy?
You're the uplifter. You're the one who organized this whole thing. So thank you for lifting.
Well, that's very sweet.
Or being with us.
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you for being a guinea pig. This was Alex and I have been talking about, like, for the last couple months, I guess. This year is like flying by. I'm like, oh my God, May is here. And then somebody told me, it's all an illusion, Rita. And I'm like, I still got a foot in this reality, because I'm like, whoa, it's just going by. It's going by fast, So Anyway, yeah, so I appreciate Alex and being open to like video, doing some interviews with me, and I don't know where it's all going, but I appreciate it. And I appreciate whoever tunes into this, because the idea is to, I think to just really connect with people that are doing things on the planet that are uplifting others and stuff. It's just this beautiful, it's like this shine your inner light. As you shine your inner light and look for the light in others, it all grows. And anyway, so I appreciate you both. Thank you. Yeah, and whoever
Likewise.
tunes into this. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All right, you guys take care. Have a great day.
You too. And yeah, let's stay in touch, and maybe we'll do another interview soon.
Sounds great. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.